Hello and welcome to another Denis Wick Products interview. And I'm here today with Jay Jennings. As a player, I guess there was a point and when I've spoken to a lot of artists, particularly in the USA, it's about sort of at school, then being introduced to the band program and instruments. So I just wondered what inspired you to remain on your instrument, to be a trumpet player. You could have picked anything, I guess, or you could have ended up on clarinet or piano. So what was it about the trumpet that attracted you?
Um, I, I think initially I was attracted to the trumpet because my dad was a middle school principal at the time when I was around 10 or 11 years old when I started playing. And uh, I went to a band concert, which my sister was in like the eighth grade at the time, and she was playing flute. And she was in beginner band. So if she was in sixth grade, I was in third grade, however old I was then. And I went to this band concert which she was in, and this young man by the name of Aaron Kuntz, actually, who I think still plays the trumpet, and he's a phenomenal trumpet player. But he was a kid, he was like 13 or so, and he had this feature with a cornet, a short little silver cornet, and I was just kind of infatuated with that performance. I don't even know if it was a great performance or what the song was or anything, but I do remember him, and it was in a gymnasium because that you perform where you can perform in Texas, back in the 90s. So they had these concerts in a basketball gym, and so it was a live room, and his little trumpet was making such a big sound in the room. I think it just kind of spoke to me in a way that was like, I should play that. And then when I don't here when you're about in the fifth grade, they have one of the music teachers come from the middle school to the elementary school and introduce instruments to you, and you kind of like see how your face looks on different mouthpieces and different instruments, woodwinds, brass, all that. And I kind of told her that I wanted to play the trumpet, and we tried it out, and I just went from there. But I started playing the piano in my house when I was about 4 years old. I was lucky enough to have one of those around my house. So I was not new to music, but I was new to the trumpet when I was about 11 years old.
Hmm.
And that's kind of what drew me to it. I didn't listen to any trumpet players before that. And then once I was in the band program, um, I grew up with a guy named Clay Pritchard, who's a lifelong friend. I went to kindergarten with this guy, and he played the saxophone, and him and I were buddies. And so when we started middle school band, his dad was a saxophone player as well. Toured with Buddy Rich in the '70s, and so his dad gave him all these recordings, Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie. So I was drawn to that at such an early age, comparatively to younger people in our country, and like uh, I was just like, I was one of the only people that I knew that was listening to Charlie Parker when I was 12, and transcribing solos with my friend Clay, who was a saxophone player, and practicing for a long time when I was really young. So that's how I kind of got drawn into the music that I really like to listen to.
Hmm. Yeah, I know
And that's
that's
how the trumpet started. It was just a middle school band concert from my dad being a principal.
as a trumpet player, I guess there's some trumpet players that I know that have 500 mouthpieces and they play on at least three of them before getting through a concert. And there's
Yeah.
other people that would just play, they say, right, no, this is the one I use for B flat trumpet, and that's it. And I
Yeah.
don't use anything else. And then this is the one I use for if I want to play the cornet, I play on this one. If I'm playing the
Hmm.
flugelhorn. So I just wondered what your take on that is, and what you actually use yourself in terms of
Right.
Denis Wick products.
I'm very much on the team of I play this for everything. I warm up with this, I practice with this, I perform with this, no matter what the gig, this is my mouthpiece. Um, I feel like I need that relationship. I need that close of a relationship with the mouthpiece to feel 100% about accuracy and everything. I've also never been, full disclosure. I'm sure this is a shocker to so many people, but I've never been like a super like high lead trumpet player. That's never been my bag, so to speak. But I've also like I've never really dabbled in very small mouthpieces, very shallow mouthpieces. I did when I was in high school because, of course, when you figure out the mechanics of it in high school, you're like, oh my God, what is this note that I can play on this thing? And then you're in high school, so you're just like fearlessly using your body to breathe and push as much air through. So, and we were playing in the football stands, so we were wailing. And as soon as I found like a shallow mouthpiece, I was like, whoa, this is totally different and a lot easier to play up there when you do these things. But since high school, once I got to college, I stuck with whatever mouthpiece I was using for a very, very long time. I was introduced to some Monet mouthpieces in high school by a teacher. I played those for a long time. And then what did I play before Dennis Wick? I'm trying to think of. I think I just was on Monet before I switched to Dennis Wick. And then once I switched to Dennis Wick, I played a lot of them to try and figure out the one that I wanted. And when the Heritage series came out, I thought it looked cool, first of all. And then I was just intrigued because I'd seen those on trombone, the Dennis Wick Heritage series on trombone. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. I wonder how that feels on your face. And then when they came out, I was like, oh, sweet, I get to try it. So I tried it. And I just really liked the response that I got with my articulation. It was like I could barely tongue a note, and it was like, ping. The trumpet is such an intricate instrument that everybody's body is different. Mouthpieces work better for different people. But that particular mouthpiece kind of, rung out to me. And I was like, wow, this is cool. So about, I don't know how long I've been playing it. It was, it was the NAMM before the pandemic. So that's when I got the mouthpiece and was sent one. So at least 2 or 3 years I've been on this mouthpiece. It's a Maurice Murphy 4C Heritage series, and I love it. I played a 3C for a long time before I did a Dennis Wick 3C before I switched to the Heritage Series 4C. I just wanted something a little bit smaller because I was getting a little bit tired and a little bit fatigued on a 3C with the gigs that I was playing. But I've been playing, like I said, everything on that 3C, whether it's like a pop gig, top 40, or just like a jazz gig or whatever. I was playing everything on it. So, yeah, I've been on this Maurice Murphy Heritage Series 4C for a while. I like it. I might in the future. I'm tempted to go just a little smaller, see how that feels. Kind of gradually do it instead of the big jump. The big jump is always too much for me.
Thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure getting to meet you.
Yeah, likewise.